It's Saturday, and that means you are watching the SMITE 2 Founder Series. We kicked things off over the last couple of weekends, whittling down our teams, and now we officially get into the Swiss bracket. Gore, every week we're stepping one step closer to the Founders Tournament out in Vegas, and we've got a great slate of games here for you this weekend.
I'm still geeking out over the intro. I hadn't seen that before.
I know.
That was really
The
neat. No,
bells.
yeah, man, I'm really excited. Like Swiss, right? Like we are taking the top 16s from the last couple of weeks, throwing them in a well, we did like the rolly ball thing. If y'all were watching last week, it makes way more sense. If you weren't,
Yeah.
there's some videos on YouTube that you should probably go watch to at least understand. But yeah, so it's random seated, but like the just the format of like Swiss as a whole, which I'm realizing like 4 months ago, I had no like if you had asked me to explain a Swiss format, I would have laughed because I have
Yeah,
no
good
idea
luck.
what that means. But after strenuous meetings and writing blog posts, I understand it. So I'm really excited for this one just because the way the teams flow, like if you win, you play other winners. If you lose, you play other losers. Means that you're going to just progressively get closer and closer matches.
So we've already done, Gore, that first column over there on the left. So in your brain, if you're watching at home, you can cross out that stage 1 open bracket. And we have moved into the next 5 weeks, which is our Swiss bracket. In the meantime, though, those teams who didn't qualify, those top 16 teams, there's still an open bracket going on over the next 5 weeks. And so there's still a last chance qualifier for the teams who did not make it into the top 16. We're going to largely be focused on, though, that top little rectangle there in the 5-week block. The second column will be our Swiss bracket. The top 8 teams from these next few weeks will immediately jump over into stage 4, which will be your playoffs, and then stage 5, which will be an in-studio LAN, and then the top 16s from that will go on to Vegas. So there's actually real benefit to doing well in this second column here, Gore, in this Swiss
Yes.
bracket. If you can dodge that entire third portion of our qualification process, we've always said the less you have to do to qualify to these tournaments is always going to be a little bit better. And I think a really good way to visualize how Swiss works is actually looking
Hmm.
at our EMEA bracket. So we're all starting out at 0-0 here on the left. And then, Gore, why don't you walk me through what happens from there?
Yeah. So there's going to be what 8 teams that win today because
Yep.
we have 16 total. Those 8 teams will be thrown into 4 matches that are only 1-0s, right? So everyone who wins today, who goes 1-0, will only face other teams that are 1-0. Done and done, easy peasy.
Yep.
Same thing. If you lose today, you will only be playing against other teams that are 0-1. And then as you progress through the bracket, we'll get to qualification matches. I believe that's week 3, where we have two matches of 4 teams that are 2-0. Whoever wins those 2 will be the first 2 that qualify to those playoffs. At the other side of it, we'll have 2 matches that are 0-2, and whoever
Yep.
loses that goes immediately onto that last chance qualifier, and we'll just be able to kind of follow them through. Again, you'll see some teams in the middle, so you're not really getting eliminated. Like even if you lose, you're not getting eliminated. You're just not going as far forward as the teams that are getting those 3 wins. And so every week we're going to be qualifying a couple of teams. 8 of them are going to be moving forward to the playoffs. 8 of them are going into the last chance qualifier. And like I said, man, it makes it so that you're always going against someone who's really competitive. Because if you have to imagine, like those 2 matches, like at the top and the very middle, you've got 4 teams that are 2-0, 4 teams that have won all of their sets at that point.
Yep.
And in theory, that means you're going to be getting like just the top of the crop, and it should mean some really interesting matchups. The other thing that's going to be fun is, if I remember correctly, it is just random seeding. So when you go 1-0 today, you're just randomly thrown against another 1-0 team. It's not like you won 1-0 harder. And the same thing, when you go 2-0, you're just thrown against another 2-0 team. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what the matchups are like as the weeks go on.
Absolutely. So the record follows you through. As you improve or lose, you get thrown up against teams who have the same record from the previous week. So you got to start out with a bunch of 0-0 matchups, and we've got a few of those for you here in EMEA this weekend. Gore, we're going to be showing a couple of matchups from EMEA in the morning, and then we're going to jump to NA in the afternoon, and then
Yeah.
tomorrow morning we're going to be showing a couple of matches from EMEA, and then bouncing to NA after that. So a couple off-air matchups, but what to focus on is what we're going to see over the next few hours. Remember, all these teams 0-0. Your record is completely wiped clean. The first matchup we're going to watch is Project Win versus Titans Reloaded. And then after that, Gore and I will take you through Bills Goons versus Yodi Gang. Following tomorrow will be same thing, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Get a couple games in from EMEA, 1 p.m., and then we'll jump to North America. So the day does not end today at 1 p.m. We are going to jump to the North American Swiss bracket
Yep.
after that 1 p.m. matchup. And hey, production's on it. There you go. Saturday at 3 p.m., we're going to jump to NA. That's Food Drive for Globe versus Look Within. Garf's Goblins versus the Employment LARPers. Classic team name, at 5 p.m. So we've got a full day of Smite, not only today, not only tomorrow, but for really the next 5 weeks. This is the style of schedule that we're going to be bringing for you guys. So starting off over in EMEA here, Gore, we get a little data from those open qualifiers, those first couple of weeks of competition. Play styles sort of shake out. I think a couple surprise teams maybe, but these next few weeks are really where we say, okay, some teams reshuffled, which we're all well aware of. There was definitely some reshuffling going on in EMEA and North America. Some teams stick together, and we are also able to answer the questions of, were the good teams just a flash in the pan? Or are we going to expect the SPL pros of Smite 1 to continue on into Smite 2? I think we'll gather a lot more information here over the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to see, because you had mentioned, right, with it's like that weird mentality where there's a lot on the line, because if you win, you just get to progress super far. Also worth mentioning that doing better in Swiss, like getting first seed, second seed, stuff like that, like you get cash prizing if you're in the top 5. So like that's another reason to want to really push to do well. But I also think there's a lot more opportunity for upsets just because of the format.
Gore, let's kick it off. Let's get in to the first matchup here in the EMEA Swiss bracket. Another thing worth mentioning is over the last couple of weekends, we've done best of ones all day in that bracket into a best of 3 grand finals. Here in the EMEA and North American Swiss brackets, it'll all be best of 3s. So teams will have a couple games. You drop one, you can win 2 straight. Adds a little extra drama into the mix as well. And the big overall thing to remember with these Swiss brackets, 3 wins. So once you get to that 3rd win, whether it's 3-0 or 3-1, whatever it may be, once you get to that 3rd win, you progress to that next playoff stage. Once you get your 3rd loss, however, whether it's in week 3 or 4 or 5 of this, you fail to make the playoffs, and you have to move on to the qualifiers a little bit later on. So 3 wins in the Swiss bracket's what you're looking for. 3 losses is what you're hoping to avoid. Let's get into it, though. Titans Reloaded versus Project Win. There are a couple obvious bans, Gore, that I think jumped out after that open qualifier tournament a couple weekends ago. Fenrir certainly one of them. Odin was definitely prioritized. I suppose banned out a little bit. But that does leave open one of the most prioritized picks, and that is the Susana.
And honestly, it's fun to watch, because really what we've ended up is that there's a couple of picks that have been above and beyond, hey, we should lock that guy in, or we need this god as much as possible. Jingwei's been in that conversation, like you said, Susana's been in that conversation. But then there are enough of them available right now that we're having to see some of them banned. Like Fenrir banned. We've seen Fenrir get through some games and have a really good performance, in particular when he's, accompanied by a Morrigan, or if you get a Morrigan on the other side, it can cause a lot of trouble for a team. And, with recent nerfs specifically, like Bacchus has fallen off slightly. In North America, he was still kind of highly prioritized. So it's going to be fun to see where that shift up. Odin is the one that stands out above and beyond, though, because I feel like every week that we have watched so far, Odin has been like the one that confused me the most, where he just came out of nowhere and looked good every single time. And now it makes sense to see him banned, because he came out of nowhere and looked good every single time. And so get rid of him. Plus, there's just so many gods, it's hard to deal with. You don't really want to be forced into a Phantom Shell if you can avoid it right now, because it feels like there's just other relics that feel better to lock in, especially as a support. So I like the idea of banning it. I also love what I'm seeing from Titans Reloaded. I think the Ymir Bacchus combo with the Susana, I mean, you've got a lot of capability to dive and control.
Yeah, we know that Ymir or Bacchus, sort of on their own, have been really important picks. Add both of them, you got some good engage, a little disengage there as well. But Gore, it looks like Project Win kind of wanted to run you down. You got a Loki,
This should be
Now the
fun.
Amaterasu, bring that team with you into these team fights and get things started off. Dazzling offensive certainly looks good. Whereas maybe some engage, but peel and some damage. Allow this Neath and this Soul to really spin up, and this Gore is something we have seen a lot of. The double ADC, the double ranged compositions.
Yeah.
And a lot of it being Neath and
Glory
Soul
to
paired
Athens.
together. So I don't think there's a lot of question marks around this Titans Reloaded draft.
And this, so if you go back, I mean, I guess even a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago is more accurate. Like, you can see 1,500 damage Neath ults, and they can still hit really hard. They're not hitting quite as hard. Same with Bacchus, right? He still hits really hard, just not quite as hard as he was. And it's been really fun to watch, especially because Neath, with that global presence, you get the stun. It also then allows you to kind of go into an ability nuke style build. Your Soul can go crit. Like, if I'm looking at these just on paper, I will admit that I like Titans Reloaded, like their draft as a team maybe a little bit more, just because it feels like they just have powerhouse after powerhouse and a lot of setup to make sure that they get the job done. I think Project Win have a ton of great gods, and from what we've seen, you never really know what to expect from a lineup like this. But I think if you were just running a tier list for what exists right now, 3 weeks into a competition, Titans Reloaded get to come out a little bit on top.
I'm excited about and this is, I think, what you're referencing, Gore. I'm excited about the playmaking potential of a few of the picks on Project Win here. You know, it's kind of that unknown factor that you're talking about. Hecate has been one of the most exciting mid laners to watch, and Loki has been one of the most carry potential possible junglers with the most potential to carry.
Yeah, there we go.
In the first couple of weeks. And there's plenty to bolster those two as well. And so my chair one playmaking brain, I think, immediately goes to those two picks in this case. The position swapping that the mid lane can bring, and the dive and the deletion that Loki can bring. Maybe not as consistent on the tier list, but this is where these players can start to make a name for themselves in the early days of SMITE 2.
I'm really excited to watch specifically like you said, the Ama and the Athena, because I feel like Athena has a special place in my heart. She's one of the diamonds I have in SMITE 1. I love playing her. I love her kit. I will acknowledge, especially right now, there are other people that get thrown into that kind of support style that do it a little better than what she's been doing. And so I'm really interested to see what exactly Project Win are going to be able to do with this pick, just because it does feel like one that it can bring so much, and with the follow-up they have, it can really set up a lot. It can also fall flat on its face in an instant. So I really am going to watch that pick to see how it gets the ball rolling.
We can only talk about potential wins and losses so much before we actually got to get into game and see how these players make it happen. Let's do just that. Game number 1 between Project Win and Titans Reloaded. Again, reminder, these are all best of 3s, so no one and done matches here today. But we're going to get, I think, a good indicator of expectations maybe between some of these squads. I really do hope to see some close matchups. We got a handful of blowouts early in the brackets in the last couple of weekends that then whittled down into some contests. I'm not sure I remember, Gore, any 3-game sets in the grand finals, though I wasn't present for the previous weekend over the last few weeks. So I'm really hoping to see some of that competition build up, see some close-knit matchups. These two rosters, I certainly recognize a handful of the players on Titans Reloaded. Admittedly, Project Win is a bit newer to me. And so just by name's sake, I'm thinking, okay, maybe Titans Reloaded have their shot here. But this is the beauty of these competitions. They clearly did enough, Project Win did, to qualify into this tournament, into this bracket. And I think this one, just based on rosters and what we've seen from these players, what we haven't seen from these players, has the potential to be a close one.
Yeah, I think, and that's part of the reason we wanted to watch it. It was because it really does have this potential to go all 3 and to I mean, really be a mystery, right? Like you said, we recognize a couple of the names, but as we've learned over the last couple of weeks, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And so watching these two, I'm particularly interested in duo lane, because I feel like we have seen some moments with Ymir specifically, but realistically on that side of the map, that have just been absolutely insane starts where it's like, hey, we got 2 kills suddenly out of nowhere. With a good freeze, a good wall, you can get a lot done. I don't know if it's going to be that explosive, right? You're up against a Jingwei, you're up against an Athena. Both of those have pretty good disengage. So it does feel like there's going to be less opportunity on the left-hand side to maybe try and get that rolling.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean you can't find control elsewhere, especially if you can lock Athena down early.
Potentially risky for Scaldermain to step forward, but he's able to get out of dodge early on here in the laning phase. Didn't see the overwhelming like invade presence that we had seen in some of our tournaments of past and our brackets of past. Supports certainly try to be obnoxious early in the laning phase. Now it's the junglers trying to be annoying over in mid. It'll just be Impact rotating in, plug some damage away at Warchi, who Gore is certainly one of the recognizable names here in the SMITE community. What? Didn't Warchi's team, I'm trying to think of what, they put together a team for some type of, maybe it was a qualifier, but certainly 1+1 = kill in the mid lane. Warchi puts together a good roster and a good moment over in mid for first blood, but immediately answered back by Project Win over in solo lane. So both junglers forcing their presence on the map, each to the tune of a kill.
Yeah, I know you gotta feel maybe just like a hint upset if you're Impact there, because like your gank is just a little bit later, right? You're just a little more delayed than what you got from the other side. So you lose out a little bit on the first blood. And what I like is to see Dark immediately rotate in. And this is just good teamwork, right? Being able to acknowledge, you know what? I helped get first blood. I'm a little ahead. I'm going to rotate over. A, free farm in the solo lane while Bacchus is dead. But B, I can put some pressure on this Amma, so it's not like we're losing a whole lot. They swap around the Warhorn a couple of times as well. So making sure to really just save the lane, right? Make sure that kill on the other side doesn't mean too much. Meanwhile, a little bit of pressure in mid. You had already got all the camps, so that means you can put all that pressure on the tower. And with a good backflip, that should be Warchi staying alive.
Yeah, it's a good moment there for Warchi to read the movement of his lane opponent there, stepping forward, realizing that maybe Impact was close by, needing to flip away. Gore, one thing I think that we've talked a little bit about in the first couple of weeks, and maybe worth talking about, is the mindset. Ramsey is unhappy about something. I apologize. Hey,
that's whatever this mindset is.
Yeah, whatever this
she's
mindset
absolutely
is.
upset about it.
The beauties of working from home means your dog can bark and lose their minds at just about anything.
It's like having a live audience fan.
She said, "Dad, you're doing terrible. Pick it up." She's unhappy with what she's hearing. I was talking about the ward mindset, though. It feels like we haven't seen this overwhelming ward presence on the maps. I'm wondering if that starts to lean into easier times for junglers to rotate in and find ganks and opening kills, and maybe forces players into safer mindsets in these laning phases if you're not spending that gold on ward coverage. And exactly what Warchi could have used now, because you got 3 people in your lane. An assassinate from Impact brings them forward, and Warchi drops his Impact with his second affected kill of the game. Finds Pater over in mid. Dark trying to answer. Sends out a last-minute ultimate, but comes up empty-handed. Well-timed gank from Project Win gets their second.
And honestly, one thing that's shown there is Neath is pretty easy to kill. Good pullback as well. And at least causes a little bit of trouble. But, yeah, really, really well played from Dark to just teleport back out of there and kind of throw it out. Now they might get the kill as well. It's free for them.
Man, Bandolero has just been on it with these walls over the last couple of seconds. Nearly saves a death for his mid laner on that first gank through. It sets up some good stuff for Dark there in the last minute or so. Dark is half health and less than half mana. There's going to be an Athena ultimate dropping in here. I'm not sure what Dark is looking for in that moment. Gotta know there's an Athena ultimate on the map. An Impact. Fighting the urge to say having an Impact, but Impact, another one here in the first 5 minutes.
And that, let's call that greed, because there's not really much else to it. He wanted a little more. What a great wall. And now with the freeze, look, the follow-up, this is exactly what I wanted to see in duo, was this wombo combo, like just this combination of Ymir lockdown. And admittedly, like, it's going to ruin Jingwei a little bit if you can get her. If you could have caught that Loki, would have ruined her. It's going to ruin Athena every single time. That dash does not get you very far. It doesn't get you to do too much. And if you get blocked by a wall, you just don't have a way out.
Early Fury now. This could be, won't be, a first big team engagement. That's smart shot calling there from Titans Reloaded in a game that felt pretty close. Felt like Impact was driving us here. 2-0-1, where the Loki goes, the kills seem to follow. But it's scored a 3,000 gold deficit as Titans Reloaded have simply farmed better. Looks like Ragna has been comfortable kicking back over in the duo lane here, farming up just fine, no issues. The Jingwei's fallen a bit behind. The farm has just gotten out of control here for Titans Reloaded, and the Gold Fury follows.
And what I love is you're also getting this, like, what's Bandolero doing in the solo lane? Does not matter. Great block. Just make sure to keep things in the tower, and you can play aggressive.
And the Stimmix get the stun. No silence out of it. And grabs tower aggro on the other side as well. In the meantime, Bandolero in trouble. 3 members of Project Win looking at him. Freeze, wall, all of it thrown. But pulled back in. And that's why you love Hecate. But it doesn't matter. Bandolero scurries away. And it's a rotate in from Warchi. Dark follows in as well. And Project Win falling apart at the seams here. Look how low that Susano is. You hope you're not getting into desperation mode here if you're Project Win, but nearly 2-3 kills sticking there, and yet none of them do.
Realistically, there's a lot that goes right. I was actually surprised to see Bacchus fall back, right? Lastimics fall back from the fight, kind of letting the Ymir get yoinked. Instead, Warchi is the savior, right? He comes forward. Warchi hits a backflip, immediately is able to get a lot of damage, gets a kill, but roots the others and kind of puts them into this position of, all right, you're half health. I'm a mid-game Neath. Do you really want to fight right now? Like, I don't have all of my damage online yet, but I've got enough that if you walk forward, this Ymir freezes you, we're going to demolish your health bars the rest of the way. And so Project Win have to fall back. You get to extend yourself even further. Dark, while almost dies, almost doesn't cut it, so stays alive and gets the job done. I mean, it's a huge rotation on right, and I mean, just look at where the gold is. That tells you more than anything.
Really have loved what I've seen from Bandolero this game, Gore. So often when you load into a game, you're worried about the Ymir. Am I going to get an 0-8 Ymir, or am I going to get a Ymir that is helping run the game? Another one for Dark, and it's assisted by Bandolero with the wall and the freeze right off the bat. And the kills are also landing, Gore, in the right place. It's one thing if a Ymir is helping set up all these fights and he's picking up a few of the kills. It's a whole nother when Dark is the one who's picking up all of the kills. 5 for Dark now, and 5 assists for Bandolero. These two have just been attached at the hip in the first 8 or 9 minutes of the game, and it has paid off well.
So let me tell you things you don't want to see when you're playing.
Right, tell me.
Well, first off, like 6,000 gold lead is not something you want to see on the other team, but a 5-1 Susano might be the top of the list, period, like no matter what, because the 5,000 gold or 6,000 gold, whatever you bounce between, you can find ways to make up for that. It's not going to be easy, but you can find ways to make up for that. Next, Gold Fury, guess what? That would take a chunk, because you get some of these neutral camps, like that can take a chunk. Try to find some more kills, that can take a chunk. But if the kills are placed on, let's say, like the Ymir, or on the Bacchus, it's not as impactful. Right? When you're getting these kills right now and it's Dark, if you can get rid of him, that's huge.
Speak of the devil, Impact needs to pull one back here onto Warchi, but the mobility, in the root from Warchi gets the job done now, and guess who's here? It's Lastimics, but there's still a chase. Gotta be enough damage, but no, there's not, and now a World Weaver flips the script and stuns Impact.
No.
He is buried. Get used to seeing Dark with that little Ymir icon underneath it on the assist again. Dark and Bandolero combining for a kill. I didn't see who it happened on. Jingwei. Looks like maybe over in the mid lane or over in dual lane, regardless. Or it's sort of falling apart at the seams now for Project Win. It's going to be another Gold Fury for Titans Reloaded. Their second of the game. No contest is probably the smart call here. And Dark plus Bandolero has just been a winning equation from the get-go. But gotta shine a light on Warchi and the great play there, combining with his solo laner and Lastimics in on the assist.
And realistically, I personally didn't expect a lot to come. I was like, okay, he's gonna throw the ult out, it's a stun, he's just gonna stop him. It's easy to forget that Bacchus can do some decent damage, especially when he's going in solo lane right now. Like it feels better all around. Dark getting a kill over on left just kind of adds insult to injury. But we get to see something, and admittedly, this happened in a fight earlier, and I didn't get to highlight it. But the fact that like Neath backflip can detonate the weaves now is such a nice change, and we didn't see it for the getaway, but we do see it a little bit afterward. And that like, there's just so much that Warchi's doing well, and so much that Dark's doing well. It's kind of hard. I want to talk about literally anyone else for a moment than the Susano, but when he's 7-1. I mean, he's standing in the front with gold.
I'm not sure you want to take this fight. It is a desperation fight out of Impact. And a World Weaver from somewhere. There it is. Connects. That tower's low as well.
No way. You don't.
Go in.
You don't do it here.
Do it.
You got minions there.
Tower's
what are you going to do?
No, that's probably smart. He's on a killing spree. Don't hand over any other gold. I think he's got, he's got a lot of gold in his bot. A whole lot. On that back, I love the 2-item power spike that we saw there. The hi-rez into the Teko Kagi, each of those a power spike in and of themselves. But this is the indicator, Gore, of when a game, it's not over, but you're down 10K at 12 minutes. When the game has gone completely sideways is when it's not just Dark and Bandolero and where they go, the kills follow, which has been the case, but like maybe some other lanes for Project Win are hanging in there. Nope, Bandolero just roaming around the map. This time gives another over to Listemics. You're back into mid.
I don't think I've seen Bandolero beholden to a lane for 10 minutes. I think 2 minutes in, we started seeing rotations from this Ymir.
If you were to tell me that a Ymir was going to be in more lanes than the Athena with the global ultimate, I would have been surprised. And I don't, I feel for Scaldermain, at some point you say in these games, all right, I'm not going to ult in because it's just going to be another kill handed to the opposing squad, right? I think it's more of a boost to what we've seen from this Ymir. Walls have been early often. Dark has played this Susano well. How about a double wall, a double knockup, a double freeze, and just short of a double kill for Dark. But it is another one in a tier 2 tower over in mid. The siege from Titans Reloaded on point. And luckily for Project Win, there's not really anything else for Titans Reloaded to grab right now on the map, unless they want to send themselves to the tier 2 in solo or duo.
I'm looking at defenses now, and this is so, it's, what's awkward is, things have gotten out of hand if you're Project Win here, right? And it's not unsolvable, but you really have to, I mean, you're almost 3 levels down compared to the Bacchus, right? Like, pretty much every single person is 3 levels down. In some cases, I would not be surprised if it's going to end up being a little bit more relatively soon. And so you really have to be careful where you pick these fights. And I can't believe I'm saying this 14 minutes into a game, but you might not want to try defending these tier 2s. Maybe a soft defense at most, where you step up and you show face, but you fall back the minute you need to. But getting caught in the jungle like this, you just can't do this.
No. Look, I mean, we talk about, all right, you're so far behind, how could we possibly win? And I think this is the point you're getting at, Gore, is like, your only chance is somehow Group is 5. Yeah, maybe delay this game. There are a few avenues. The point being, what you cannot do is give up individual picks that puts you at a 4v5 further disadvantage. You're already down heavily in golden experience. What you can't do is hand over a literal bodies difference on the map. Gold Fury number 3 over to Titans Reloaded. No surprise there. Luckily, I think it was Scaldermain who died a moment ago, or whoever it was. Regardless, didn't end up really meaning much. You're not going to contest that Gold Fury anyway. Listemics, walks face first into 3. Not super worried about it. Gore, the Fire Giant's going to spawn in 4 seconds. Are we going to see an immediate pull from Titans Reloaded?
Honestly, I wouldn't hate it. I feel like there's not much of a reason. Actually, realistically, if you're Project Win, I love Hail Mary plays. It is not a smart idea in a lot of competition to do anything like it. I don't know if you could, but I'd rather you fight here than kind of just lay down and let them have it for free.
Right. Oh, it's a 15-minute Fire Giant pull for Titans Reloaded.
Too late.
Yeah, too late. Amaterasu a bit late on the rotation in. I'm not sure you're getting much done there anyway. A killing spree. I think it's Listemics now who's on 3 straight, and unfortunately, Scaldermain drops to 0-5. This is a scary sight. Dark just roaming through the jungle, glowing red with the fire of the FG buff. Scary enough anyway, but doubly so now. And on point, consistent team play fashion, Titans Reloaded are going to carry this massive 16,000 gold lead and Fire Giant buff over to the right side Phoenix. And this is so awkward. Project Win, can you fight? You might have to try. Purification rolls through for Titans Reloaded and gives themselves a second win in the fight. I'm actually not sure you want to pull him back into your team. If you're SMITE at this point, you do. And 2 more kills and a Phoenix fall for Titans Reloaded Gore. This game seems to be sunsetting a bit. It's just a matter of when. Oh no! Bandolero sticks under the Phoenix for just a bit too long.
And that, realistically, that's actually a massive kill for Project Win. Like, it's not going to get a ton of gold, but that's the difference between losing all 3 Phoenixes here, right, including this tier 2 on left, and just losing the 2, right? If they still had all 5, we're having a different conversation. Even with respawns coming in, I mean, Project Win, we're on a conveyor belt. And much like you said, like, the Hecate ult that can do so well and could still do well. I mean, if you pull them into, like, the fountain and get a stun or a root or any sort of follow-up from your team, like, that's going to be crazy. But the fact that I'm setting a fight in your fountain and in the Titan room is not really a good sign up front. But I do like this, right? Getting that kill, even if it's more of a mistake on Titans Reloaded, it's an opportunity for Project Win. What do you do with this time? What do you do with the pressure that's now been alleviated? Can you defend this tier 2? Could you maybe try to get a kill onto Ragna while they're alone? This could be massive.
Ragna is going to have to disapparate away. Is able to get out of the threat range. 2 members of Project Win over in solo. Meanwhile, Titans Reloaded still have Fire Giant buff on 4, and all 5 members make their way into the duo lane. 2 Phoenixes down. Project Win are going to give up the tier 2 tower. Impact just split pushing out over on the right side. Try to farm up, grab literally anything you can. World Weaver charged. So Warchi going to find his target and open up this fight. What could be the final fight, what should be the final fight of the game. Hecate stunned over on left, a dazzling offensive in, but it's immediately canceled out. Oh, it's a 4-man pull. Is this your way back into the game? No, you're simply too far behind. It's a dream scenario for SMITE, but it's disaster at the end of the day for Project Win. It'll at least be a triple for Dark to end the game as well. Maybe a quad. It is, and Titans Reloaded mop the floor with Project Win in game 1.
Like you said, it's the dream ultimate. If you're even if you're a little bit behind, it is the dream ultimate. In this situation, it was really just delivering the carries to your backline. Yeah. It was making sure they were going to struggle, right? It was a few shots of Phoenix damage for a frontliner, but still a few shots of Phoenix damage difference that they don't have to take anymore. Now they're just back there, and now they can just fight you. And an unfortunate scenario that just it falls apart instantly, but really good on the other end of that to just absolutely demolish and take advantage of the new positioning, right? Immediately, you don't see any hesitation. They just go into fight mode. They go into kill mode. They absolutely, like you said, wipe the floor with them. And then at that point, you've already knocked down 2 Phoenixes. You just march on forward.
Yeah, best case scenario in that moment is actually going blink on Hecate at the beginning of the game, blinking on the opposite side of the enemy team and pulling them back.
Yoinking them away.
Right, you give yourself up, but you're pulling everyone back towards you. You're behind the enemy team. Was maybe the only possibility there for SMITE. Gore, we talked about it very briefly at the beginning of that game, where us as casters, a lot of what we have to go off of is just player history, name recognition, those sorts of things. This Titans Reloaded team is a team that we have casted a bit more of in the past. Not all of them, but Listimics, Dark, Ragna, Warchi. I mean, these are players that we've seen on a roster, and a bunch of them together. Sort of that that combination of players that's maybe winning the day here. But Project Win still searching for a win. Remember, this is the beauty of best of threes. It's 1-0 up the Titans Reloaded, but a chance for Project Win in game 2 right after the break.
And then I said, that's not Bacchus, that's Bilson's mother. That one always makes me laugh. But enough about my weekend. Hey, Gormizer, what's new with you?
Just picked up my SMITE 2 Founders Edition.
Very nice.
Purchased it on my preferred gaming platform just yesterday.
Nice skin.
It's Cacodemon Ymir. It comes with all SMITE 2 gods. Forever.
That's very cool, Gormizer, but that's nothing. Look at this. Night Stalker Neath and Ascension passes for 11 Alpha Launch gods. What do you think?
Geez, that is really super. How'd a nitwit like you get so tasteful?
Can't believe that Bandy prefers Chelly's Founders Edition to mine.
Very nice. Impressive. Let's see J-Max Founder Edition.
Look at that avatar, badge, and title. The tasteful thickness of Tier 5 Fallen Zeusia. Oh my god, it even comes with Ascension passes for all 23 Alpha gods.
Don't be like this psycho and upgrade your Founders Edition, so you don't miss out on Night Stalker Neath, Tier 5 Fallen Zeus, and Ascension passes for the first 23 gods. Upgrade today.
I didn't realize we had Christian Bale in the studio
Oh, I wish, bro.
just recently. Gore, you deserve an Oscar for that performance. Unbelievable. That's one of my favorite ad bits I've seen in a while. That was a really good bit.
We we were laughing about it not too long after because Tristan goes, what he likes is like you get two kinds of ads from the company, which is you get the I don't know how to describe them. Like you get the stuff that like Manus will produce, right? That you'll see on like the main Smite game Twitter all the time. And then for us, you get whatever movie Tristan has watched recently.
Right. But you know, underneath the great acting and the wonderful production is the truth. The Smite 2 Founders Edition. Gore, I will say, I mean, I encourage everyone to consider that Ultimate Edition. There's so much packed into that Ultimate Edition, the value for your money. At least the Founders Edition, though, and this is something that we've talked about for a long time in Smite 1. All Smite 2 gods forever is essentially the God Pass, right, from the God Pack from Smite 1. That in and of itself is amazing value. We always said it was one of the best deals in gaming. Unlocking every character that comes out in Smite 2 forever at the base level Founders Edition is such good value. And of course, I would say that the earlier you get it, the more payoff you'll get. But
Yeah.
The best deal in gaming still gets better. And then there's a lot packed into the Deluxe and the Ultimate Founders Edition that if you're going to be playing Smite 2, there's a lot of bang for your buck here in all three tiers of our Founders Edition.
Yeah, the All Smite 2 Gods Forever should be the selling point, period. Like,
That's it.
as a frame of reference, like, just base tier is what, 30? I spent that $30 in Smite 1 in early 2013. And I have every single god in that game. I never had to think twice about it since then. It was just a new god came out, and guess what? I'd load in, I could play them. I didn't have to think about favor or gems or anything like that.
Yep.
And so I can say now, if you pay, like, spend the $30 now, it's already access to like 20 some odd gods, right? So it's like a little over $1 per god at that point, which is a great value on its own. But then you start to factor in the fact that it's going to include way more gods as the game goes on. And it just it really does just make it so much worthwhile.
You're a smart man there, Gormizer. I'll follow you anywhere, including on this one. But we just had a great game one here between Titans Reloaded and Project Win. Great if you are Titans Reloaded. Not so great if you're Project Win. Gore, in the opening moments, Impact rotates in, gets an early kill. Remember, nearly gets first blood, but rotates over to solo, gives Listimix his one and only death of the game in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game. And then really nothing from Project Win after that. I still think Bandolero, I know Dark has the 13-1-5, deserves all the praise in the world. I loved loved what I saw from the Ymir in game 1. The rotations were on point, the assists, it was always dark, and then the little Ymir icon underneath it on the kill feed up top. And it just felt like, when you consider the possibilities of the Ymir, the games where you see your Ymir go 0-10 because he's immobile, this was the dream Ymir game. And of course, Dark and the rest of the team rallied around that.
When you get it, look, if a Susano is going to be 3-1, 3-0, 4-0, like at any point in time, if you are going to get that amount of kills early, yeah, just invest all in on the jungle, right? And that's kind of what they did, and to the point where I don't think Bandolero cared about any farm after a certain point. It was, can I wall or freeze for my jungle? And if the answer to that is yes, then I'm going to be there. That's where I'm going to be following up. I'm in solo lane. I'm in mid. I'm in the jungle. I'm just disrupting constantly.
Yep.
And I think a little bit of it, like, they just had a really good draft, but the way they play it just comes out a little cleaner.
Agreed. And I love the goose egg in the kill column for Bandolero. All of the kills going over to the rest of their teammates. So important. And a great look for Titans Reloaded. Project Win was the farm for Bandolero in that game. We'll see if they're able to continue that trend in game 2 as we get into picks and bans. And Gore, this now raises an important question, because here in SMITE 2 in the early days, we've just got one ban for both of these teams. I can't remember which team was on which side, but maybe it was Project Win that banned the Odin, I think, in game 1. The question was going to be, do you ban out that Ymir? Do you ban out the Susano? Susano is the answer. Odin, the reply from Titans Reloaded. So the chess match, Gore, with just the one ban is very interesting to follow here. Can you pair the Ymir with something else? Fenrir didn't get banned this time, and Project Win, consider that a win. One of the most prioritized gods in SMITE 2.
Yeah, I really am. I'm excited to see it, mainly because I feel like what we've seen is either a combination of Fenrir with the Morrigan or against the Morrigan, right? The idea of, well, you got something really good, I'm going to get something really good. Or, we got something really good, I'm just going to get it twice now. And so being able to set yourself up for that level of success. The thing is I also think that Titans Reloaded, outside of the Susano now being banned, like, your draft was pretty good. I don't know if you need to change too much. And I feel like, admittedly, outside of maybe having to build different items, you could have a similar level of performance. A lot of what goes right for Titans Reloaded is the early game, right? There was a certain point where Project Win were just behind. And so the fights were not necessarily righting themselves, but they were at numbers disadvantage a lot of the time. They would come in, you'd have someone get picked, and then it would be like this conveyor belt. And so with that level of play, Titans Reloaded were able to just continue to expand that lead. Wow. Until eventually the lead was kind of doing the heavy lifting for them.
Yep.
Now you're hitting the reset button. So whatever you start with in the jungle, you are going to have to put a little bit more pressure on because of.
Yeah, this is what I thought that Titans Reloaded might do, and if you want them to win, I'm sort of glad they did. Go with another carry playmaking style jungler and just put that with the Ymir instead of the Susano. So Titans Reloaded get the core of their draft, and if Project Win don't pick a soul, which I don't know where they would because they've already got a Jingwei and a Hecate, Titans Reloaded, Gore, have the ability, should they choose, to just run back their entire game 1 draft, but a Loki instead of a Susano. That does make a difference, but the playstyle could be very similar. In the meantime, Project Win kind of doing the same thing as well. Doing the exact same thing as well. Who was it instead of... It was a Loki instead of the Fenrir in game 1?
Yep.
So we're swapping the jungles, but we're keeping all else the same. And we are.
Well, yeah, we'll see how that works out. I don't know. Fenrir, like, I do think that's going to change a lot in favor of you. I think Fenrir can play aggressive. Fenrir also allows the rest of the team to get a lot done, right? That ultimate is very helpful. But I feel like there were things that didn't go well for them outside of that, and a lot of it was the rotation from the Ymir. I think Loki is going to be just as fast around the map as what we saw from the Susano. And so I'm going to keep my eyes on Dark, because Dark could make the difference here. If Dark has a stellar performance on Loki again, then unfortunately maybe it's just jungle diff. But if they're able to contain that and maybe match those rotations, Fenrir being able to move around, right, has a lot of CC as well, it could really help kind of ground the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Give the Athena a little bit more opportunity, although again, I still don't know how much I like her into, especially like a Ymir where the wall really just locks you off and can bully you. I gotta keep eyes. Sammy Chu fell behind Warchi last time as well, so in mid, it's maybe just as important, if not more important, to get ahead, stay ahead.
Yep.
And so try to get some of those lanes that weren't able to do anything. I mean, we didn't even get to say the Jingwei's name. Like she never had a chance
No.
to get the ball rolling. So I do really want to see if they can just steady themselves, ground themselves early on, and try to slow Dark down.
Yeah, the key is just you can't get snowballed on like you did in game 1.
Yeah.
Can Project win, push us to a game 3, or the Titans Reloaded just take it here and now and improve to 1-0 in the Swiss bracket? Into game 2 we go. Titans Reloaded have that 1 win in their back pocket. So the follow along here, Gore, of course, is going to be with Bandolero and Dark. It's what we saw in game 1. It's what won Titans Reloaded the game in game 1. And it's what Project Win hoped to avoid. Now, you could argue that a 0-1 and 17 Ymir game is like... And that one death, by the way, was to a Phoenix. Pulled Phoenix aggro
Yep.
and took too many shots. You could argue that that's like a top 1%, top 10% game from a Ymir, and you're just never going to run that back again, so this game might be a little bit slower. I mean, you have to have learned something here if you're Project Win. You're going against essentially the same exact composition and same exact style that you did in game 1. Maybe Bandolero's just got that awareness. It takes the game as it comes to him, but this has got to be on Project Win to adapt. It's not often that you get smacked around, you go for the same comp, the other team goes for the same exact comp, and you got a chance to just completely correct your mistakes.
Yeah, I really do think, again, it's a lot of this first few minutes that set the tone. And in mid, maybe more than anything, I think Warchi was able to get a lot done as an early game Neath, which is not something that I am really used to saying, right? Like, I mean, you've got decent clear. Like, I wouldn't expect you to struggle in your ability to just maintain your lane. But to be like this, where you're pushing the Hecate under tower already, like, you've got that amount of pressure, your Loki's looping around, like, there's a lot of potential in just the mid lane to just absolutely wreak havoc and cause so much trouble. That last time I think I was saying I'm looking into the duo lane, and in theory, if you can catch that Athena off, you're probably going to get a kill. But it's just wherever Dark's at, it's kind of what I learned in game 1. Wherever Dark's at, that's where you want to be watching.
Absolutely. Agreed. Dark going to mirror his opponent over towards the mid lane. One thing that I look for as well, Gore, that Assassinate could really stick here for Dark. No beads picked up for anyone on Project Win. There's some instances of CC immunity in some of the ultimates, and so maybe you can forego the beads between the Amaterasu and Fenrir notably. But if Dark is slightly patient, you know, you can wait out some of those ultimates. Maybe make that assassination connect a little bit further. Impact wants first blood, just missed out on it in game 1. We'll get it here in game 2. What a play! And a blink forward from Impact, but immediately on the answer is Dark. Oh no, just shy of answering back the first kill. Exactly what Project Win needed. A clean in and out on the first blood.
That's step 1 to bringing everything right back to where you need it, right? It's just, you got the kickoff, you got exactly a kill that you needed, and you got out with your life. I mean, that's not something that you get to say too often, especially if you look at last time. And now you're getting a little bit of pressure everywhere, and you get that pressure in duo, which is where I will say, like, your team's gonna struggle a little bit, right? Jingwei, not a bad god, takes a little bit to get there though, right? You need some of those items, you need to get the crit online to really be hitting what people are expecting from you, why you're considered one of the better late game gods. And so I like being able to get them a little bit of pressure, get an assist over onto those characters, those gods, and set yourselves up for success elsewhere.
Dark and Lastymix will not be able to chase down the Amaterasu. But if sustain, back safely beneath the tier 1 tower. But Bandolero here as well. The wall and the freeze looked great. Unfortunately, directly beneath the tier 1 tower, so no follow-up chance for Dark. The first and early win for Project Win here is the fact that Bandolero has started to rotate, has been there with Dark. These two still attached, but have not hit pay dirt just yet. But this is the big pivot point here, Gore. Dark hits level 5, has ultimate online. And alongside his Ymir could have some good targets. Maybe an opening kill. Ragnar as well. Level 5 here has the ultimate advantage in this 1v1. Needs a bit more damage. Doesn't have it. Holds on to the ultimate. Well, maybe had a chance a moment ago, but chooses not to use it. Just steps back and away. Unless maybe he had used it. Just weren't indicated by that just yet. So a chance for a kill there for Ragnar. Another chance here. How much damage is this World Weaver gonna do? Listen, Mixer's just gonna die.
Yeah.
He had to have thought the World Weaver was gonna be there sooner because because there's no other world where you just walk into the tower, you stroll on in, hey, how you doing? And then you just eat it. The blunder of the morning so far.
So at least Dark gets the kill, but
yeah, there we go. Pull us away from that moment.
I mean, I'm gonna go with what you said, where you maybe you're just expecting the World Weaver to get there earlier. In my brain, I was gonna just call that like the same thing. When you're level 20, you're super far ahead, and you've got this like power level in your brain of what you can do.
That's right.
And then you reset in the next game. Sometimes it takes a little bit, right? You got to do some learning to remember that you're not as strong as you once were. And I was going to call it that, but I do like your read on it, which is just they thought that there was going to be a little more potential to get it done quicker. Unfortunately, with taking the tower. That what a great wall.
Bandolero trying to make an impact. There we go. We needed to see it from the Ymir. And then collapses in with Warchi and Dark. And now Warchi and Dark both with 1 kill here in this game. Bandolero with their first assist. Gore, the unfortunate part of this, and this is something we saw in game 1 as well, is even before Titans Reloaded snowballed out of control. They had a handful of kills, but it wasn't devastating. Oh, we're going to run this back.
It's not under the tier 1 this time.
Right. That's how fast Amaterasu is. Oh, but Dark is there on the follow-up. It's just a bit delayed. This time, the World Weaver play works out. And I was going to say, and I want to make this point before the kills start to get out of control. The kills were even. In fact, Titans Reloaded were behind. They were still about 1,000 gold ahead. The farm for this Titans Reloaded team in lane and across the map has just been so effective. Now, this is something we did not see in game 1. Project Win will be happy that they're able to rotate over and grab the first Gold Fury of the game. That'll stabilize that gold lead a little bit.
That is massive. Because like you said, in game 1, Titans Reloaded grabbed that, I mean, instantly. Now you might be in a little more trouble, though, if you're Sandwich. You have to get out of here.
Steps back from the fight, but what's happening in the backline? Dark still can rotate in, but you're going to walk face first into 3 members of Project Win. I think smartly stays away from that engagement. Couple actives used, have to disengage just a little bit. Where this is something that we started to see some of that gold lead built up over in the duo lane, as Ragnar has just kept the Jingwei shoved beneath that tower, 1 level lead, and it's just going to get worse, especially if Titans Reloaded can keep this grouping up. You gave up the Gold Fury a moment ago, but can you find a fight? Gotta be a 4v4, especially with the Soul Laners can rotate out. Up and over goes Impact. But off to the side, the Hecate ultimate keeps Warchi alive this time. Dark and Bandolero gotta combine for a kill here. And Nickel rotates over from solo, adds 1, but Ragnar's got the lead. A World Weaver slows down the disengage. No mana left and maybe no chance. You've always got a chance when Athena's on your side. And Nickel's able to survive. I think the math works out at a 1 for 2, Gore, and maybe a slight advantage there for Titans Reloaded.
Yeah, it's again, like you said, a couple of kills that go in their favor. I'm getting a little worried because Dark is 4-0-2, and while you've got more kills online for Project Win, like you said, that slight advantage we've seen can really turn into
3 levels up.
3 levels up. Comfort, I guess 2.5, right?
3.
Yeah, we'll give it. Yeah, we'll give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but it's just Dark, the control that Dark has had across the map in game 1 and in game 2 is just absolutely insane. And now you finished your Hydras, you've got your duo lane just absolutely wrecking shop where they can. That's actually a really good disengage, good to get away.
Needed the Aegis.
You have to be worried about this Loki's presence on the map and this Loki's presence anywhere. And the thing is Loki can kind of show up anywhere at any time, which makes it a little more frightening overall. At least with Susano, you can kind of see him coming.
Yeah, but remember, Gore, this is the exact power spike that Dark hit in game 1. It was a few kills. It was already not looking great, but then Hydras into Tekko Kagi, and Dark simply took the game over from that point on. You could argue that he's already done so in the first 10 minutes of game 2 here as well. But yeah, wow, I didn't even look down and realize. I mean, yeah, you have 4 kills, but that doesn't always result in a 3-level lead. 2.5 is I think what we said we'll give, to be fair, but Dark has just been on it. And it's been, Aero's having a good game here as well. This is a chance for impact. And a chance for a shutdown onto Dark. Oh my god, Dark is at least able to rampage before going down. That actually might not have been helpful. You get a little extra gold on the shutdown. But that shows you just how powerful Dark is. Impact left running. Listimix doesn't die to the tower this time. Enough tankiness. And up and over goes Impact. Listimix guzzling away. It's gonna play Ring Around the Rosie. But Nickel's gonna have some assistance here. But as does Listimix. Dark drops and pulls one with him. But a big shutdown for that 5th kill ticking over just before death. Makes it a rampage shutdown. So a small win for Project Win.
Yeah, honestly, that's a good amount of gold that you're going to be able to get now because of the shutdown kill. And realistically, I think it goes to show that that lead that Dark has and how just out of hand it can get, right? There were 3 people there, and Dark still gets a kill, almost kills the other 2. If you get a little more time, like if you had 100, 200 more health, I think we see Dark walk away with, you know what, I guess at that point it'd be 7-0 still, right? Wouldn't have died, got 2 more kills. And so I like the way that the team has replied. I also like this, a little bit of pressure, at least trying to save your Athena. It would be nice if you could get a kill out of it because you had to invest a little bit, especially in the Hecate ult. But you know, beggars can't be choosers. You take whatever you can. And in this case, small victory is a victory nonetheless. It's around this Gold Fury now that I'm a little more interested. You cannot get picked off in the jungle.
You can, naturally. Osio goes back in here. Dazzling offensive will connect with the stun on the Bandolero. But Dark is here. Play escape for their support. That's going to open up, though. A Gold Fury pull could be a second of the game. Project Win. A big stun as Assassinate has gone back in for Dark. Impact has done so as well and pulls back Bandolero with the Ragnarok. Great grouping here for Project Win, and the Gold Fury over to Project Win as well, but Dark still has gas in the tank and makes him pay with a double. And Project Win get the Q and get out with only 3 alive.
I like where the play from Project Win is, which is you get the Gold Fury, you lose 2, which I will say it makes it a little less favorable for you overall. But an objective is an objective. Not only that, it's a pretty powerful one on top of it. The problem is, this is the only downside, and it's the Titan Reloaded are playing well, and that's that you lost this fight when you had a numbers advantage because Listimix has been over here split pushing. Listimix was focused on the tier 1 and gets it. So that gold that you were able to pick up from the Gold Fury, the advantage you got, it just in that alone, the kills make it seem a little less worthwhile, but now the towers that have gone down absolutely mean that this fight has gone in favor of Titans Reloaded and means that they have control of the map.
No mana, no health. Nickel uses the Aegis, but Ragnar might have the angle. Dark sure does, man. What an anticlimactic way for that to end. It's just the Loki rotating in and assassinating. Couldn't have written it any easier. Hecate in trouble in mid. Listimix actually just teleported back. The towers have not been the friend of the Bacchus this game, but Listimix tanky enough with the mystical mail and the Stone of Bonding at this point. Be okay, and I'm not sure why Ragnar's hanging around here. I guess Scaldermane doesn't do much damage, but Athena taunt near a tower is a tale as old as time. Ragnar almost learns the hard way. Gore, Titans Reloaded seems to have stabilized a bit here. They dropped 2 Gold Furies Project Win. It's a good payoff. There's no... Unless Impact has help here. I don't know what you're 4 levels down. Gotta have help, but even then, I'm not sure that Dark doesn't just rotate in and absolutely destroy this fight.
Oh, that's a good start.
Assassinate, though. Doesn't matter. Listimics has enough damage. That was questionable from Project Win, and maybe, Gore, an indicator that we're starting to get to desperation mode in Game 2.
Which, realistically, I don't know if you needed to be in full desperation mode. Look, you're 5 levels down now, so admittedly, if you're Impact, farm should be on your mind more than anything. Kills don't mean nothing. I think going in there, there's the net win, the likelihood, I guess, of you getting the win that you want. Like, it's a huge, huge risk. And a pretty good reward, but the risk was going to be difficult to overcome every step of the way. Instead, falling back, farming, I mean, that's what a lot of these should be doing. If you look at it, like solo lane, you're only 1 level behind. You're not falling too far behind overall, but I'm looking at a pretty massive gap, 3 levels for the Jingwei between the Soul. You're looking at 2 levels in mid. Like, there is a lot of struggles for Project Win in the experience department. And your jungler dying and kind of forcing everyone to fall back and play safer isn't going to help that too much. If your Titans Reloaded, though, look at the success and where you've been finding it, because everywhere across the map, you are getting farm, you're invading, you've knocked down towers outside of the left tier 1, and you really haven't had too much to pay for. I mean, Listimics has died a couple times, but that's not really caused too much trouble. Now with this Fire Giant up,
dangerous.
You might want to force the fight, honestly.
Really dangerous. I'm looking at the rotation, the pincer move that Titans Reloaded is going for here. Yugador Tactico is going to be in some trouble, though, as Titans Reloaded sent forward that way. Dazzling offensive, met with a wall, at least gets a stun on the Bandolero. It's not quite the 0-1 and 17 game from Bandolero, Gore, but still well underway in that build. I love Talisman of Purification, one of the cooler items, and allows your team to shrug off beads as a necessary early kill. Rally around me, and we'll be A-okay. Ragna has been a master of the split push. That continues with a tier 1 tower finally dropping over and left. Or a 3 built up. This is what we've been seeing from Titans Reloaded. Dark, Bandolero, Warchi running things in the middle of the map. And then the side lanes just split pushing to the heart's content, building up a lead that way. And then this should be the first Gold Fury of the game for Titans Reloaded. The threat is that the other team can then go pull FG, but Listimics is there. Project Win come up empty-handed in the last couple minutes.
Yeah, and when you're forced to use Hecate ult realistically to disengage more than you are to actually start a fight or win a fight or anything like that, I think that kind of shows at least where your team's mentality is at. And I'm going to be honest, I like that. I prefer that. Stay alive, get out of there, do whatever it takes, because you need the farm. If you're going to get back into this game, it's not going to be through a massive fight. The problem I have is that this Fire Giant does make a big difference. And Titans Reloaded are ahead enough that they could walk into this pit and not worry too much about it, force a fight. I think you have to defend if you're Project Win. I think if you lose this fight, it's going to go poorly for you every minute after this. I think you need to be able to step up, but it can't be like last time. You need to all be present.
Dispel their attacks.
And all be present at the start of the fight, not just present in the area right now, because Scaldermane was in danger of not being present after a Titans Reloaded onslaught. Continues now onto the Athena. Everything connects. It's A-okay, and it's Warchi with the World Weaver, but Impact has found Warchi. A little bit of damage connecting, but this is such an easy fight for Titans Reloaded. You got a 4v3 over on right, and in the meantime, Warchi has been able to hold his own. Nearly dies, but keeps Impact busy. That's the left of the Titans Reloaded carry a bit low. Is it time to go back, reset, and get around this FG? No, Warchi sticks around. Gore, only airstrike for Project Win is ready here around the FG.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Impact could try to get something done, but it's the danger of getting caught out. Look at this frozen wall, blocked away, forced to leap. But you're all still pretty low if you're Titans Reloaded.
4 forward, and out then goes Ragna. Wow, there's a ton of damage rolling in here. Is that Samichu from the backline and an airstrike through? Titans Reloaded so far ahead, but so far behind in the fight. But sneaky, this Dark rolls through. On impact, Listimics needs some help, but Assassinate connects, and everything flows through Dark. The last bit of mana notches the second kill in the second rampage of the game for the Titans Reloaded jungler.
And you lose Ragna, but that's a pretty small price to pay for, I'm going to call it a hubris fight, right? Like, you took that fight, most of you were half health, most of you had low mana. Like, it was not maybe the best scenario for Titans Reloaded to walk out of it with 2 more kills on your Loki. 10, 1, and 4 for Dark. You get some more power spikes. Deathbringer's now there for Ragna, so I really am keeping eyes on this soul to step up over the next couple of minutes. It feels good. It's a good win, and it's a good scenario for it to be in. You don't get the Fire Giant just yet. That's a great fight for Project Win to at least stall the game out, which is what we were asking for in game 1, right? You're behind. There's no other way to really talk about it. That's just how it is. How do you get back in? It's little fights like that. And unfortunately, the opposite of this. You don't want to get caught out in those small moments. But what can you do about a global ultimate and a Loki?
Not much. Not much. And especially that Loki was, at the time, 10-1. Now 11-1. That might just send Titans Reloaded right back over to the FG. Right back down the middle of the map here. Project Win aren't able to stabilize their defense here. Gore, you're having a similar conversation to what you were in game 1. Call it 10,000. Nice round number goal behind. I think the worrying trend this game was always just that even when Dark was, I mean, I say only, but only like 3-0, Dark was still like 3 or 4 levels ahead of Impact. The farm just got out of control here. The Loki looked far too good. This is the threat, though, that we've talked about. When you go over and pull the big Fury, potentially leaves Project Win alone with the Fire Giant, and it's exactly what's happened here. Fury, though, has been dropped, and Titans Reloaded. They're now looking for the fight around the Fire Giant pit. No Gold Fury, in fact, secured by Ragna against the Ancient Fury, so a win there for Titans Reloaded. Dark, though, under pressure. Could this be the second rampage shutdown from Project Win? It is, in a split moment on the map. Suddenly doesn't look horrible for Project Win, but it could start to get worse here now that Titans Reloaded have made their way to the right side of the map. Get the big Fury. They lose their jungler, their 11-1 jungler, but they do not lose the Fire.
Yeah, if you take it at just kill for kill, I'm trading the 0-6 Athena for the 11-1 Loki every single time. Like it's so easy, a simple decision. Fire Giant for Ancient Fury, you lose out on one. You don't even lose the Fire Giant or gain the Fire Giant. Now you're finding kills. Morchi does get taken down, but look at right now, he's going for a Phoenix.
Listimics keeping Project Win where they are. You're right, Ragnagor just destroys the left side Phoenix. This has been an odd-numbered fight for Titans Reloaded from the get-go. Project Win able to win it as a result. But your left side is completely broken open. Ragnar now just going for the tier 2 in mid, unconcerned with rotating into the fight. Has a
I didn't realize had the minion wave.
Free and clear avenue to rotate in behind Project Win right now. Chooses not to, chooses to stick around on the Phoenix. And Listimics has just been obnoxious around this Fire Giant. Skull remains low within an inch of their life. Fire Giant goes to Project Win. The second Phoenix of the game down in the Project Win base. In the meantime, Dark is back up. Level 20, everyone's starting to catch back up with Namoki. Inexperience. Boy, there's a lot to sit back and type in on the calculator. Move the little beads on the abacus around. Because Project win a big fight. But before they lose the Ancient Fury, they get the Fire Giant and a few kills. But you've lost 2 Phoenixes in your base. Ragna has been full-on split push and completely cracks the base of Project Win.
Yeah, and to be clear, what we are looking at right now, for Project Win, this is still a lost fight unless they get good stuff, like good things done with this Fire Giant. Because like you said, when you look at it on paper, you got the Fire Giant, which is a huge buff. That's a huge advantage. But there's map state. 5 towers still standing on the other side. You've been losing a lot of the fights. You're still down in kill. You're still down in gold. You need to be able to step forward. And meanwhile, Ragna was free pushing everywhere on left and in mid. If you can't get these towers, if you can't get anything done on the map as Project Win, it's still I'll call it a hollow victory if you even want to look at it like that. I might just call it a loss in that objective fight, because the Fire Giant only matters if you can get something done with it. And right now, I don't see him getting anything done with it. So looking over towards Titans Reloaded, you have to give a massive amount of props. I mean, Ragna, maybe they could win the game if Ragna's there, right? You fight 5-on-5, maybe you get the kills, you get the Fire Giant, you just run it down mid, you end it. But what you guarantee have now, without Ragna there, was a fight that still goes pretty even, despite it being a 4v5, and your team has 2 Phoenixes already knocked down. Now you only need 1 fight, and you're guaranteed a win instead of maybe a win. And so it really does make this just, I mean, so much easier for them. And look at Project Win, they're in such an unfortunate spot, because what else can you do but defend, right? You just have no real other options with your base as broken as it is. There's a chance that Titans Reloaded could just 5-man walk into the base and go for the Titan while you were getting aggressive anyway. So you don't have a lot of options outside of keep the line of scrimmage pretty much right there at the Phoenix line, and just hope for the best. Hope that maybe they take a misguided fight on Titans Reloaded and that your Fire Giant can get something done back there.
I'm wondering if Titans Reloaded are even remotely concerned about the Fire Giant buff. I mean, I guess if you're really, really playing things to a T, you kind of slow down, you delay, you let the FG buff fall off, you get the next one here in a couple minutes, but I mean, you're gonna have a free and clear avenue into this Fury here in a second. Fire minion waves are gonna be pushing down mid and left. You just got the Ancient Fury again, so this Phoenix is just chilling. I mean, they're hanging. It's Titans Reloaded, just waiting to get up, to group as a team. Step forward. Just find that opening. Phoenix over in duo. Will respawn here, so a small win, but if minions make their way to that side of the map, they're just gonna knock them out once and for all, if there's no defense from Project Win. Ever slow though on the uptick. Titans Reload. Dash in. This time from Bugador Tactico. Slows down Ragna in the back. Jump up and over from Impact. Keeps the soul low, and Bandolero melted down all by his lonesome in the front line. Dark has had to peel back to assist his back line, but now can step forward. Listimix has plenty of engage. Keep your eyes on this Bacchus. Dark just hasn't quite found the impact that they would want in the early portions of this engagement. Your Titans Reloaded, kept at bay for a moment. The left Phoenix did in fact drop off again. Talk about Ancient Fury, that's why it's important. Go in, clean up the other one. Dark has been left alive and on a warpath this game. Another kill onto Scaldermain, 0-7 with the 7 assists for the Project Win support. Or I'll admit that there's some thinner margins here for Titans Reloaded. Those health bars a little bit lower than we ever really saw them get in game 1. The kills just not rolling through quite the same, and the Fire Giant shortly to respawn.
And that's honestly, you know, when I was talking about the Fire Giant and saying, what do you get done with it? You didn't knock any towers down, right? If your Project Win, there was no offense played, but that sustain was actually huge. Like, if you lose that fight, the game's over. The Fire Giant sustain and buffs that you're getting are more than enough to just make sure that you were able to hold off Titans Reloaded. You get the kill on Bandolero. You force Dark to feel uncomfortable going in, and that in and of itself was enough to really create the scenario for him. Unfortunately, it's followed up by that. So the second that I'm praising him, you now have a minute where it's a 4v5 and you are already at a disadvantage.
They may end up just losing the game off of that. Though Dark is taken quite low. Tactico, same. I might just start saying Amaterasu. That is hard to say in the team fight. Makes their way out of the fight, but I mean, now you've lost your third Phoenix. I mean, it's frustrating when you say, all right, we're so far behind. The best thing we can do is somehow find a team fight, maybe a split push, stay alive. The worst thing you can do is hand over a 4v5 when you are also near 20,000 gold down to the opposing team. So again, I don't want to pile on too much to Nickel. I mean, I'm not sure it makes that much of a difference at the end of the day, but it will make life a little bit easier for Titans Reloaded. Go towards the 70. This will be standard. Still just shy of that 30 minutes. Dark has finally found the fight they've been looking for. In 2 kills drop, Listimics will make it 3 shortly after. Samichu goes damage immune. And that will be game, Gore. Titans Reloaded, unconcerned with the FG. They'll group up as 5. And Project Win, clinging to Impact and Nickel to somehow save this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on them. And look, you're going to need something massive from both that
This is gonna
I don't know
so
if we've seen.
It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. Titans Reloaded walk in. They're going to pad the stats a little bit further. An impact, no impact here by the end of it. Titans Reloaded go 2-0 and advance to the upper portion of our Swiss bracket.
And I think you're right. I don't want to lay the game down at one player's feet and be like, hey, you messed up and it's your fault. Because realistically, you're all behind, right? Everybody falls behind. And so it's kind of this team-wide issue. That being said, the Jingwei getting caught out when it happened with that timer on the respawn, that really just puts your team in the worst spot imaginable. And in my brain, I'm thinking, well, at least Jingwei, with the passive, you can get back into the fight well. But your team would have to prolong the game for a minute. And unfortunately, even when they got close, they were very close by the time the fight started. With 3 seconds, I think it was, to respawn on the Jingwei, that's when we started to see those first kills roll through. And unfortunately, then it was just the cycle and it all collapsed.
I mean, you're essentially 1 full character down in gold anyway.
Yep.
Right, if you're saying on average 17 to 18 to 19,000 gold is what any one of the Titans Reloaded players had, and you're that far behind in the game. So you're essentially an entire extra player down in gold anyway. And then also swinging that to a 4v5. I mean, that one moment didn't lose the game necessarily, but it's a microcosm of larger things maybe for Project Win. I think that Hugador Taktiko had some good moments in this game on the Amaterasu. I think there were some moments where that dazzling offensive sort of dispelled the opening attack from Titans Reloaded. Though it didn't look great, I think Impact didn't get as crushed here in game 2. I mean, Dark still really took. I mean, it was 11-1. Dark went on 2 separate rampages in this game. But again, there were still some moments here, and that's what you got to find for these teams and teams that you're kind of watching play together for the first time. Is there potential for growth? And I absolutely see it for Project Win. That they had some calls in this game that I sort of liked, between splitting on certain sides of the map. I think that Gore Titans Reloaded simply too consistent as a team, and they'll be one to watch here in EMEA.
And realistically, they're ones that, well, first off, now with a 1-0, that means that we know their matchups are going to just get a little harder, right? Because they move forward. But they were, I mean, just all around, like you said, really, really solid. I liked the way they played that, because in game 1, it's hard to say anything other than it was the Dark show, right? I mean, Dark was just everywhere. Dark was getting the job done and finding fights left and right, getting kills left and right. But in the second one, I should shout out Bandolero as well, because Bandolero was also everywhere, making sure, like you said, I think you even called it, if you see the Susano icon, the little Ymir icon is going to be right next to it every single time. But in this last one, Listimics early on was split pushing a lot. Ragna was split pushing a lot towards the late game. It really did make it so that they won from the map more than they won from the fights.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it there, Goremizer. So a team able to win a couple different ways here. Our Titans Reloaded, that's our first EMEA best of 3 of the day. Still got plenty more SMITE 2 Founder Series action. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you in a second.